Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In the previous video, we discussed the health check in Kubernetes and got a clear understanding of how Kubernetes monitor the applications. We learned one very important concept, that is, running does not always mean working. Since Kubernetes is an orchestration platform, its responsibility is not pretty much only to create the parts. Its real job is to continuously verify whether your application is actually working or not. That is where health checks become extremely powerful in the Kubernetes. Health checks in Kubernetes are divided into the types, and from this video onwards, we are starting each type in detailed way. In today's video, we are starting with the first and most important type is liveness probe. In this video, you clearly understand what liveness probe is, then who perform the liveness checks, which is called health checks. By using that kubelet, we can do it. And then we'll focus on how Kubernetes restart the containers, after how much time restarts happen. And very important thing is why initial delay seconds is critical here. And we'll see that two practical live demos. So in that, NGINX is one real production use cases, we can see it. By the end, you will clearly see how Kubernetes becomes self-healing. Okay, so let's get started. Before going to start, let's see what is liveness probe. Liveness probe is a health check mechanism used by the Kubernetes to verify whether the application inside a container is truly alive or not. Sometimes applications don't crash, but they stop responding because of they may hang, they may freeze, they may lose internal connections. Despite the pod showing as a running, users start facing the issues. So liveness probe allows Kubernetes to detect this situation. When checks fails continuously, Kubernetes restart the container automatically. This is called self-healing. And we need to discuss one more important point here. Kubernetes already restart the containers if they crash. But why liveness probe is pretty much important here. Liveness probe is not for the crashes. It is for situations where the application is stuck and it is not responding. And sometimes the application internally broken. And one more thing is application is running but unusable. In these cases, the process is still running. So Kubernetes will not restart it. Without liveness probes, these broken parts stay forever. So that is how silent failures happen into the production environment. So that is where liveness probe solves these problems. Why liveness probe when Kubernetes already restart the containers? Kubernetes restart the containers only when the main process crashes, but many real application failures never crash the process. The process is alive, but the application is not usable. So Kubernetes cannot detect this by default. So for this, liveness probe exists exactly for this gap. It allows you to define your own logic of what alive means. Okay. If that logic is fails, Kubernetes forcefully restart the containers and recover the service. Who actually does all these things? Liveness probes are executed by the kubelet. Could you please refer that architecture video? Kubelet runs on every node. Kubelet is the component that responsible for goes inside the container, execute the probes or commands or scripts which is given by the user, and then evaluate success or failure cases and stop the containers, start the new container. So liveness probe is not theoretically, so it is a real process continuously running on every node. Before jump into the live demo, we need to understand one more thing which is called initial delay seconds. So initial delay seconds is the critical part because most of the applications need the some time which is called initial delay seconds to come up that service or application. If Kubernetes checks too early, the app itself it's failed. So even though it is starting normally. So let's see the live demo now. So here I'm going to show you two demos. One is simple file based demo and second one is how the probes will be works in real time by using NGINX. So this is the code base for the file based probe. Here if we go to that spec section, we use it to define the container property here. It will just alive the container and we use it to define the liveness probe. So here I am telling what to run and I am telling how frequently to run. So every 5 seconds it will try to run. If this command returns a 0, what will Kubernetes think? Kubernetes will think that your container is healthy. Okay. kubectl apply -f live.ml kubectl get parts -w. Now it is running. Now kubectl describe pod. You can give the pod name. Enter. Now see container is created. Started the container. Now see here after 30 seconds it start checking that liveness probe. Then it's showing Liveness probe failed, ls cannot access, no such file or directory. That means Kubelet go to inside that container and it will verify whether this file is existed or not. So now this file is not available, Liveness probe is failed. So if we go to the code, we also configured initial delay seconds as 30 seconds, period seconds as 5 and failure threshold as a 3. So Kubelet will wait 30 seconds, then check every 5 seconds, and if it fails 3 times continuously, it will restart the container. Watch the output. See here, it restarted 2 times because the file is not available. Now what we can do? We can create that file now. So I went into the inside that container mkdir slash app touch slash app, then you can give healthy dot flag. So now see I have created. Now you can exit this one. Now kubectl get parts. Now what happened? Kubelet command will succeed. If you check that pod again, you will notice that the restart count stop increasing. Now if you go to that kubectl describe, now see here successfully it's created. Now the restart count it won't be increased. If you see here 4 is there. Now if you can see also it won't be increased. Now 4 only is there. Okay. So now you need to think if the file is not exit, health check is fail. If the file is exits, health check is success. Now let's break it again. If you want, you can see rm space -rf slash app slash healthy dot flag. Now again, if you can watch. Now see restart 5. So within a few seconds, Kubelet will again start restarting the container. So this is the single file demo. Clearly proves that Kubelet is continuously monitoring the application and restarting it when the health condition is failed. Okay. Now even you can check describe. See here, liveness probe failed. This is about first demo. Now let's move to the NGINX live demo. Cat space nginx.ml cat space svc nginx.ml. So I used here cluster IP and here you can see under the spec I used it to define the liveness probe. So in production we usually don't check the files, that means file based probe. We use it to check the nginx endpoints or service endpoints, or we used HTTP based endpoints. Here we are running NGINX container and the Liveness Probe is configured using the HTTP GET method, and Kubelet will continuously send the HTTP request to the root path and port 80. If NGINX responds with the valid status code, that means it's a 200, the container is healthy, or the return code is 0, the container is healthy. If NGINX stop responding, Kubelet will mark it unhealthy. Okay. We again configured here initial delay seconds and period seconds and failure thresholds, success thresholds. So before verifying the first health check probe, it will wait up to 30 seconds. This 30 seconds is required to come up the NGINX service. After 30 seconds, again and again, 3 times it is verified. If it is failed, it will restart the container. Okay. So now apply this part, kubectl apply -f nginx.aml kubectl get parts and see it is running. Okay. Now you can see kubectl describe part nginx-liveness probe. Now see it is created and it is started. Now kubectl apply -f svc.nginx.aml kubectl get svc. Now service is created. Now if you can see curl, you can use this cluster IP :80. We are seeing welcome page of Nginx and it is healthy. At this moment, the container is still running. Let's simulate a real failure. We will not kill the container. We will only stop the Nginx service. kubectl exec-it nginx-liveness-nginx-yes stop. Without going to the container, I am stopping the service. Now see, I stopped. Now if you can go and see that kubectl get parts, immediately it restarted. See here restart count. Okay. So at this moment, the container is still running, but Nginx is dead. Without Liveness Probe, Kubernetes would do nothing. But now Kubelet starts sending HTTP probe. They fail. After continuously failures, Kubelet restart the container. Okay. So for that, we can able to see kubectl describe the pod name. If we can give, we can come to actually the restart count. See here. Okay. So if the health check is failed, it will restart the container. This is exactly what happens in real-time production. Okay. So that is about today demo. If you have any doubts, could you please comment in my channel? Thanks for watching.